Hello, my friends. I'm Terry, and I got a dead battery. All right, so I actually ran into an issue where my battery died. Now, it's not because the battery failed on its own, it's because, I didn't properly seal up the car. So I actually had my trunk not fully latched, and the light in the trunk stayed on. And I hadn't used my car in over 4 days, so it drained the battery. So we're going to get into, the different steps that I'm going to take to try to bring it back to life, and go over some products that I purchased for this because the stuff I had was pretty outdated. All right, now for starters, a little disclaimers. The battery that's installed in my car is 3 years old, and batteries have a life expectancy of 3 to 5 years. So it might just be now that I have drained it that actually damages the batteries a bit. They never go back to full charge again. They can only be charged so many times, and they're constantly being, slowly charged a little bit with the alternator every time you use it. And then now that's fully charged, this is going to take away some of its lifespan as well. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to see if I can still bring life back into this, because batteries are crazy expensive these days. Normally I could go out and I could get a battery for like $100. Now they're like $250, $300. So yes, depending on where you go. So because all of the local part shops around, they have crazily overpriced their batteries. If you were to look at places that go directly from the manufacturer, you'll see I've already priced some batteries out, where if I was to go through certain companies, I could get my battery for about $100 cheaper than if I was to go to the big box part stores like O'Reilly, AutoZone, Advance, because those guys have been marking up batteries by at least $100 more than certain retailers. But people are going to go to AutoZone and things like that to buy batteries, and so that they're not realizing the high markups that are happening right now, and you're getting scammed. So I don't want to have to deal with buying a new battery just yet if I can help it. So I got to get this thing going. So let me first go over what happened. My trunk struts had failed me. The trunk had slammed shut. I broke one of my levers, and I wasn't able to open my trunk. I had to drill a hole in it to get my trunk open, fix the struts. All that's good. I can use my trunk again. Well, I think when the trunk has slammed down, I think it might have slightly bent my latch, because ever since I've had difficulty getting it to latch without applying a lot of force to get it to latch. The striker looks fine, but I think maybe the latch got thrown a little bit off adjustment. I tried realigning it myself, and no matter which way I moved it, it latched worse. So I just put it back where it was so I can actually get it to latch. I think I came home one night after work, and I always put a car cover on because I keep it in the trunk. I must have, when I went to go put the trunk down, not realized I didn't push down hard enough, and it didn't latch, and it drained my battery. So I actually had an old battery charger that I've used before on multiple vehicles I've owned over the years, and I've never had issues with it. But I kind of ran into an issue with it when it came to the BMW, which brought me to, I got to get some different equipment because I don't want to fry my car. So let me kind of go over what happened with that. So I went and let me show you the equipment that I tried to use. All right, here is my old battery charger. It has a 2 and a 6 amp setting on here. This is a Schumacher brand, which is a very good brand. They still make stuff today. You can go and get jump packs and all that on battery chargers for this brand. Now, this is a very old unit. I got this back when I was going to college. So this is, I think, manufactured back in around 2005. So it's rather old. It does have reversed polarity protection in case you were to hook it up on the wrong terminals, but it doesn't come with any features for overcharge protection or anything like that. And this doesn't talk about being compatible with anything other than your standard lead acid batteries. And nowadays we have a much broader spectrum of types of batteries, between anti-gravity batteries, we got lithium ion, we got AGM, gel pack, and many more. So this just may not have been compatible with either the type of battery I have, or it might not have been compatible with the BMW. Now, I don't think it mentions anything about what brands this particular one could have gone and been used with. But it should have taken, for the 6 amp, it should have taken about 6 to 8 hours to fully charge according to their box. Usually 6 amp could sometimes, depending on the size of your battery, could even take up to 10, I believe. Now I only had this on for 2 hours, and it had already been showing that it was almost fully charged. So I got worried about it getting that charged that quickly. So I had disconnected it. And the car did start. The battery's dead once again, but the car did start. I think it might have been overcharging. Something did go wrong, but thankfully, from what I could tell, it shouldn't be anything too major. Now, what went wrong was when I went and I started the car, when I was looking at the gauge cluster, for those of you who have a Z3, there is an indicator light on the gauge cluster below where your mileage is, and that is for your oil change maintenance. There'll be little bars showing you the lifespan of your oil so you know when to go and get your oil changed. Well, the bars are now gone. I just have like the glow of the light that shines there, and then it went off. So it might have fried that little part, which I never used it anyway. So that's best case scenario for something happening to the gauge cluster. The mileage still shows up and everything else will still fine on the gauge cluster. I went ahead and I then turned off the car, and I decided that I can't properly charge it with that charger. I didn't feel safe using that particular device because I was worried about if it kept overcharging, I could fry the computer, I could fry the rest of the gauge cluster, I could even potentially have the battery explode. So I disconnected it. I had used this on the Yukon last year and I didn't have problems. So I don't know if it's just maybe had something to do with the BMW. I don't know. And once again, I did hook it up to the jump terminals underneath the hood of the car. I did not have it directly hooked up to the battery itself. But I didn't feel safe with it, so I went ahead and I bought some different equipment so I can get the car going, hopefully repair the battery and get it fully charged, and be able to continue using it for a bit longer before actually replacing it. So let me go ahead and show you what I picked up. First up is I needed a battery tester, so I went ahead and I ordered this device right here. Now, this one is from a company called MOTOPOWER, which is based out of the state of Delaware, and it did come with some pretty good reviews, so I figured I'd try this one out, and it also has a 1-year warranty right there. Now, there's not much to it for everything in the box. This doesn't operate on any sort of batteries. You just plug these alligator clips on, and it will give you your voltage reading as well as things will light up so you know if your battery, if there's anything else going on. And if you turn the car on, it'll even give you a rating for your alternator as well. I wanted something that was very straightforward and easy and didn't have any deal with a whole bunch of settings or anything like that. And so this one seemed like a good one to choose. Now, this is made in China, but it's pretty lightweight. Alligator clips, I mean, they're not the biggest, but they'll work. And this is kind of cheap here, it comes off. So they're not the highest quality, but it is cheap. I think I only spent $15 on it. So you get what you pay for. I wanted to try this out and see if it was any good. So that's something that we will try out today. Next up is I wanted to get myself a jump pack. I've never used one before. I've always used jumper cables, but you know what? Sometimes you get in a situation and you don't have anybody else around you, or maybe you're not necessarily able to depend on the kindness of strangers to let you hook up to their car. So I wanted something that I could use on my own. So I got myself a jump pack, and now this is NEXPOW for like power. And let's see if this one is also made in China. This one did come highly rated as well, and it had a very good price on it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to try this one out and see how this works. Now, this one is for 12 volts. It has 1,500 amps. It's not too large, so you looked at the size of my hand, you know, it's basically the size of my hand. And this is what it looks like out of the box. Very straightforward. You just have the power setting, and then it'll tell you the percentage that this is going to be at. Hopefully it's already fully charged. I'll find out. It even comes with a handy flashlight in case it's, you know, nighttime and you can't quite see where your battery is. You can hook it up, and you have some USB stuff like this as well, so that way you can charge your mobile phone. So it comes in pretty handy. So I thought it was pretty cool. So that's what we get, and then we should have all of our devices here. So this piece here is where you plug in your clips. Will get plugged in right here on this device. And then it uses a USB to Type-C charge cable, which isn't the best. It'd be nice if they had like a wall outlet style charge cable instead, but this is what they use, so you'll have to make sure you have an adapter for the USB so you can plug this into the wall. And of course it comes with all of its directions and things of that nature. And these are much better alligator clamps compared to my little cheap battery tester. Now this, I believe I paid around $50 for. So this is what I'm going to be testing today. I had looked at the Noco brand, but that was only 1,000 amps, and that was $100 for 1,000 amps, whereas this was 1,500 amps for half the price of the Noco. So that's why I figured I would try out this particular one, since it did come highly rated. All right, and then the last piece of equipment that I would need is an actual new battery charger. So this is the Noco Genius 5, and whatever number they have associated is how many amps. So they have like the Noco 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, then so the 5 or the 10 or whatever, that's going to be amps for what it's going to charge at. And this one had a lot of great settings and features, which is why I picked this particular one. I like the fact that it's going to be small as well, and it can handle both 6 and 12 volt batteries, and so you can repair your batteries, which is great, because mine is an older battery and it's got some lost capacity, and I've drained it accidentally. So being able to have the option to hopefully repair it will be great, because like I said, they're very expensive. You can also use this for maintaining, so it also acts as a battery tender. So that's a cool feature, so you don't have to buy 2 separate devices. And it comes with everything you'll need in the box. And of course, the most important feature is it will charge your batteries, and it's safe for lithium as well as your acid. So that was important. So let's go ahead and see how this looks. It should be quite small. Now, I believe this was $75 for this particular one. And as you can see, they have a lot of different ones on here. They have like their Boost Pluses and Extra Larges if you have like really big vehicles. They'll show you the size of your engine and things like that. I don't have anything that big, so I didn't need anything like that. That's going to be for people who have really large trucks or semi-trucks, things like that nature. Big diesels, and of course, all the different accessories and things you can get for it. So right there is the little charging device, quite small. Let's see if we can get this all out. Okay, they made this a little bit more clumsy for getting out of the box, but this is the charger. So quite the difference in size for this compared to that. Very different. Here, we'll even give you a little thing for size there. So this is all that you have versus this giant thing sitting underneath your engine bay or wherever you have your battery located. And this plugs directly into a wall outlet, which is great. And it's got your alligator clips that you'll plug in. And these feel like they're pretty decent quality as well. and they open pretty wide, which is important. So overall, this looks good. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to be testing all of these products out to see if they work. For the ones that do what they're supposed to, and if the ones that work out really well, I'll go ahead and I will put the links in the description for those. If you want to get some yourself, you can be more than welcome to do that. And it will help the channel, as I am an Amazon affiliate. Anything that doesn't work, clearly I'm not going to boast about, and I wouldn't want anyone to purchase. But let's go ahead and try these all out. First up, we're going to use the battery tester, and so we can get a kind of an idea of how bad off we are. So let's go ahead and attach this. Here's the battery. Like I said, this is a 3-year-old battery. It's the Super Start brand, and I don't know all the information on it. I didn't buy this battery, so let me see what it all says here. This one has 680 cold cranking amps for this particular one. So let's go ahead and see if this thing works at all. Whenever you hook stuff up to your battery, you always do the positive first. And now these clips aren't exactly the greatest, so I don't know how well I'm going to be able to attach to anything. Okay. Sorry. And it's not lighting up. So either my battery is got too low of a charge to where it's not registering on the tester, or the tester is defective. So let's go ahead and use the boost pack on here and see if we can jump start the car and get it running, and then we'll go ahead and we'll plug this back in and see if we get a reading. I can confirm that the battery is quite dead because my trunk light is not even illuminating. So it's completely dead. All right, so before we go ahead and we hook up the charge pack, let's go ahead and just check the directions so you guys can see this. So all I got to do is plug the alligator clips into the actual pack itself, connect the terminals, and then wait for a green indicator light to turn on, and then I can try to crank the car, and then once the car is running, simply disconnect the alligator clips and then unplug the clips from the pack itself. So there's going to be a blue indicator light on first, which means the jump cables are connected to the jump starter. Blue light is on. And then once you get the green light, then we are good to try to start the car, like it said. So it says it should work within 30 seconds. So, and that's all that it has on there for it. It's a quick guide. So let's see if there's enough power in this pack to do this. Otherwise, I'll come back after I charge it up. All right, so here is the actual jump pack. Let me turn on the power. And it has 75% charge out of the box. That's actually quite impressive. Okay, so out of the box, 75%. That should be more than enough to start the car. So let's go ahead and we're going to plug this into it. And it looks like one side has this flat edge and the other one is rounded, so you cannot mess up which way it plugs in. All right, and now we got the blue indicator light. It also has these other lights on here to let you know if there's any other issue. Now the LC is for low capacity, and that would mean this doesn't have enough power and you need to charge the actual unit before use. So we got the blue, so let's go ahead and plug the alligator clips in and see if we can get a green light. It would be nice if we had a little bit more length, but this is actually still pretty good. Okay, she's connected. And we have a green light. Good deal. It's giving it power. Let's see if it will start. All right, I am inside the car. Tell the truth. Nothing. There it goes. Hey, and my gauge is working. So that's a good sign. It came back. So I didn't fry it. It must have just had that issue from it when I had the, what you call it? Must have just had that issue when I had the other charger on it, and it kind of was overcharging it after all. But good, it didn't actually break anything. I will have to put the code for my radio back in, but that's minor. So let's go ahead and unplug that jump pack. It worked great. And once you start the car, it goes back to blue. It went right back to blue, so it's not trying to pulse it anymore, and it basically shut itself off. All right, good deal. I'll let this run. Let me go ahead and get this all disconnected. Very nice. That worked out great. What I will do is I will plug this in and let it get fully charged. Now, how do you turn this light on if you wanted it for, hold this on? Okay, so if you hold the power light, then you get the flashlight to work, and that does work too. Very cool. Hold it so I can turn it back off. Beautiful. All right, so yeah, this little charge pack worked great. It started it up. My battery was very dead, and yeah, it started it up. And it only had a 75% charge on here. It wasn't a fully charged device, so this worked out great. So this is fantastic. Now we'll go back to the back and we'll try the battery tester while it's running, and we'll see if we get any readings. What I'll do is I'll put the actual tester on these terminals here and see if that makes a difference. All right, I went ahead and I grabbed the cheap little battery tester, and we're going to plug this in while the car's running and see if we actually get this to work. There we go. Now we actually have a reading. Let me get you in closer. All right, so it's going to do that glitchy thing on the camera where it's going to kind of flicker, but it's showing that we're at about less than 14 volts. None of these are lighting up. I don't know if that's because I don't have it connected to the battery. I have it on here, so it's not able to get that reading. However, it is showing that my alternator's good, so that's a good sign. And my battery isn't reading as dead, but I mean, it's dead. Dead enough anyway. So the alternator's working. It's slowly charging it. We're now up to 13.9. So the alternator is doing its work. So this does work. Let me go ahead and shut the car off. All right, I went ahead and I looked up to see what kind of battery was in the car. It's the Superstart Premium battery sold from O'Reilly, and they're selling that particular battery for $194.95. And then I think there's like a $22 core for that for them. So it's not that bad, but that's as if I decide to go with another battery if I need one. We'll find out here soon. We're going to go ahead now and we're going to test out the Noco battery charger. I'm going to go ahead and get that set up so we can go ahead and test that out. Now the Noco charger comes, I believe, with a 3-year warranty, which is quite nice. And it does have a lot of different settings. It has the overcharge protection on it, which is what I really want. I don't want to fry anything in the car. So that's going to be nice. And it has different settings depending on the type of battery you have. And so that's great too for those of you who might have multiple vehicles and you don't, you might need to have lithium in one and maybe you have an AGM in the other. The newer cars, I believe, that are 2019s and newer have the AGM batteries. So if you have a newer vehicle, it'll be a nice little device to have that can take care of both of your needs. So let's go ahead and get that now hooked up, and it'll take a few hours, I believe at least 6, to fully charge the battery. And then we'll see how it looks in that time. So let's go ahead and get this hooked up. All right, I went ahead and brought it over. I got my extension cord because I don't have an outlet anywhere near where I parked the car. Now your alligator clamps will get plugged into these wires here, and they also come with their own little fuse in there too for protection in case. I guess if something happened and it did overcharge, it would blow the fuse and kill the. It would if something was to happen, it would blow this fuse and kill it, so that way this unit didn't keep trying to push power into anything. So it's like a little safety thing. So let's go ahead and get all this stuff hooked up. So this one does give you some pretty decent length for your clips right here, your alligator clamps, which is nice. Now I don't need a lot of length, so I'm going to keep this bundled together. And that clicks in real nice. All right, let's go ahead, pull these away from all this metal, and we will plug in the power. All right, we got power going on here. Let's go ahead and see if I can get these settings figured out. So, mode. I might have to actually have the alligator clips on, but you'll see. So it's showing that it's receiving power. You have your 12 volt, your standard 12 volt, you have your AGMs, and then your lithium. Then you have a 6 volt on there, and then we have the repair feature. I'm sure there's been some issues with this battery from it being 3 years old, as well as the car has sat quite a bit between me working on it and previous owners having it sit. So there's probably going to be some stuff that needs to be worked out. So let's go ahead and get this plugged in further. Okay, it's plugged in. Now let's see if I can pick a mode here. It isn't giving me, I'm not able to change modes or anything. I have to hold this. So I'm not able to do anything with it. It is plugged in. Well, to the user manual. All right, mode button, push the cycle through your charging modes. We got overcharge error lights and all that good stuff. Let's see here, how do we use this? That's French. Okay, how to use, goes over the different modes. Now the repair mode, like I said, that one was pretty nice. So that one says an advanced battery recovery mode for repairing, restoring old, idle, damaged, stratified, or sulfated batteries. So that's a nice little feature. Now, why am I not able to get this thing turned on? This is your charging times right here based on your amp hours. I believe my battery is around 70 amp hours. So 80 amp hours is 12 hours. So we'll just say mine's probably then maybe around 10 for charging time. And then we got the explanation of what these lights mean. Your mode button to push through the different modes. Number 2 is your overcharge indicator. 3 is a bad battery error. You have a reverse polarity thing. Your charging indicator. Okay, standby. Repair mode is 7. Number 9 is the different modes. And then we have our different specs. I should be able to just pick the mode then. That's literally all it has, and it just has multiple languages. So I'm getting power to the unit. I guess it just doesn't have enough power to work, but I mean, if it's plugged into a wall, it should be all the power it needs. Because I can't cycle through any of the modes. Yeah, it's not letting me cycle. All right, I'll have to just let this sit for a while and try to figure out how it works. I'll be checking back in with you guys in a bit. Let me do some research. Okay, so all I did was I just took these clips off the clamps, I readjusted the alligator clamps and I hit the mode button and now it's working. So I guess maybe it just didn't have a good enough connection. Looks like now we got power. It's on. So you can see my battery power is quite low. And it's right now on the 12-volt charge. Now, do I need to charge it and then repair it, or can I use the repair feature to charge and have it repair as it charges? Let me look that up and I'll get back with you guys one more time. Okay, I wasn't able to find any really conclusive information. The directions within the box are pretty useless, but I got it charging. It's already hitting the second bar already, which is pretty good. Now, only thing I was able to find is the repair feature is supposed to take 4 hours for it to fully do that cycle. And I wasn't able to find any conclusive information if I need to charge the battery and then do the repair, or if I can have the repair happen as it charges. Because it's just not telling me. It seems like it's having a difficult time reading, because see, it's at 1. It was at 3 for a bit. Now it's back down. So I don't know if it just has a bad connection. Hopefully I don't break nothing. Let me go ahead and I'm going to put it in repair mode. I'm not sure how to put it in repair mode. Seems like it doesn't want to cycle into repair. Yeah, I can do 12-volt AGM and lithium, but I can't figure out how to get it into repair mode. So maybe I need to charge it first, and then it'll let me do it, because it's not letting me go cycle to the repair mode just yet. I just wanted to say that I also checked the owner's manual to double check how they want you to charge the battery. And the owner's manual also states to use the jump terminals under the hood. So just in case you guys are wondering that. Yeah, it's showing that it's fully charged. I wonder if it's going to let me go to repair mode. It still won't let me go to repair mode. I don't know how to turn repair mode on. I can't figure it out. I really want to use repair mode. But now I put it back to charging and it says it's dead again. So you see what I mean? Like, it's being very misleading. So I'm confused. I have no clue what I'm doing. Okay, an update. I got it to go on to repair mode. I went and I plugged this into a different wall outlet because I was wondering if maybe that wall outlet just wasn't the best. So I don't know if that was a factor or not. And then I found that if you hold this mode button in for a while, it'll get off the 12-volt settings and then jump to the 6-volt. And then if you hold it some more, it'll kind of turn off. And then you hold it, and then eventually will jump to the repair. It was a bit complicated. They should have had instructions on it. Honestly, you should be able to. They should have it to where you just tap it between all the settings instead of having to hold it a certain way to get it to work. So it's not the most user-friendly in that sense, because it takes some figuring out to figure that part out. But it's officially in repair mode. All right, it's now 5 a.m. Let's see if it's fully charged. All right, and we have a solid green light. So it should be charged. Let me disconnect it and it should start. All right, and the car started, no problems, and I'm ready to go to work this morning. So, fantastic. Yeah, I'm off to work. You all have a great day. Okay, just a quick update. It's been a couple days now since I did the initial battery charge, and the car has been running fantastic. I haven't had any electrical issues or power issues. So I highly recommend the Noco battery charger. It works fantastic. And so yeah, I approve of it. And I think the battery tester, I think when I was doing that initial reading, I'm pretty sure that voltage was for the alternator because the car was running. So, I mean, so that's pretty cool. And then, you know, I would have to, you know, disconnect that so that way I could test it to see what the battery power is now. But I'm not too worried about it. I think everything worked out pretty well. The battery testers, it's cheap, but I mean, it'll get you by. But there's definitely better options out there. But I want to thank you guys so much for checking out my video. Hope you guys enjoyed yourself, and I'll catch you all again on the next one.